Hey, everybody, Brad here. Okay, cutting straight through the baloney and getting to the point. The question is this: should you be ruled? Now, I do want you to type. I promise you, I want you to type your answers, your questions, your thoughts, interact with each other, because that's how we all grow. That's how we all either solidify our opinion or maybe we're exposed to a new one. So the question is, should you be ruled? But before you do, I would like to make a few, observations. So here's the thing. We are now in Davos season. So if you guys don't know, Davos, Switzerland is the place where all the big wigs, the biggest of the big wigs, the 1% of the 1%ers get together and decide what you, the smelly, unwashed masses, us, me, us, not them, are going to, the changes that need to be made, how we will be ruled, how they will guide us. Oh, their shepherding is so kind. Okay, should you be ruled? Here's a few thoughts. You've got gigantic companies like Microsoft and like all the big tech companies, the gigantiest, and that's a word, banks. You've got, people like Klaus Schwab, who literally have a book about the Great Reset. They literally have a book out, which mainstream media is saying doesn't exist, or they're calling it a conspiracy theory. There is no Great Reset. There is no Great Reset, when he literally has a book called The Great Reset and Kova. We can't, it's the infection that cannot be named. He literally has that book out, and they meet and they guide and direct how you will be governed. Well, it used to be that we all had countries, and those countries had their own rules and their own boundaries and their own ideologies and their own governances and how they were going to treat their people and the levels of freedom that they were given and allowed. So, here's the question. Should you be, allowed to drive a car that has gas in it? Should you be forced into a city where it's based on a 15-minute standard that you will only be able to live in this place, and everything you need is within 15 minutes walking time? Why? Because you won't be able to have your own gas car. They're planning that, people. It's not fiction. It's not conspiracy. Look it up. They're planning it. These are actual conference items that are in their own. It's not a syllabus. Their plan. I forget what you call it. Conference items. Agenda. Okay. These are not, oh my gosh, this is a conspiracy. No, you can look it up and see it. All right. 15-minute places where everybody's going to live there, and you'll have to get permits to go out of that 15-minute place. Let's say that, you want to visit Auntie Pam down in blah, blah, blah. Well, you're going to have to apply for a permit. You're going to have to make sure your ESG score is low enough, or else you can't travel. Oh, no. The elites are allowed to travel. Why? Because they're more important than you. And they do big things where you, sad little ants, do little things. And so we'll let you live like pets in cities. While we jet set and do whatever we want. Don't you think it's funny that there were hundreds of jets flown to Davos, Switzerland, to talk about how they can crank down on environmental issues? Now, I'm no rocket scientist, but I can say this. My guess is they don't really think too much about their own ESG scores. Whatever. Hundreds of jets flown in. They want that for you, but not for them. You've got craziness happening. Like, for example, it's illegal in the UK. Now, I got to pause, time out, flag on the play, holding, whatever, right? Even if you're not a Christian, this should bother the snot out of you, because What happens when they don't like something that you like? The rules change. Now you can't do that thing or like that thing or be that thing or act that thing or wear that thing. People are standing across the street, not opening their mouth, standing there and praying, and they get arrested. Oh yeah, it's because there was an abortion clinic across the street. But they're not talking. They're not handing out tracts. They're not doing anything except standing there praying. Not out loud. Not going, hey, you need some Jesus up in your life. Nope. Quietly. Harassed and arrested. Now, you say, well, that doesn't bother me because I'm not of this or I'm not of that. Well, what happens when they don't like what you like? My friends. Lots of redneck friends. I love my redneck friends. They're the get her done crew. And boy, we get along. We get along swimmingly. The Get Her Done crew, what happens when they come for your truck? What happens when you're not allowed to have any Second Amendment items anymore? It's for your own good. You know, part of this whole Great Reset thing that these people are planning for you is you will own nothing and be happy. It's the Great Reset. It's in his book. Look at it. It's there. You'll own nothing and be happy. So they don't want you to own a home. They want you to rent. They don't want you to be self-sufficient. They want you in boxed cities where you're easily controllable. They don't want you to have the ability to have free speech. They're talking about that right now in Davos. They're talking about building into these big tech platforms ways that they can go ahead and clamp down on whatever they deem is not okay. Wait. So what happens if the presidential candidate you like is not the one they like? Oh, wait a minute. We saw how that worked out. Yeah, we did. What was that word? Collusion? Yeah. They did that. And they pretty much swayed public opinion hardcore in one direction. Now, if you're on the other side, you go, hey, this is great. Our guy got in. What happens if it's not your guy? What happens if it's worse? Here's a fun thing. This happened in the United States. Since we chatted about our friends in the UK, this happened in the United States, Mall of America. A guy was literally almost bounced out of the mall for wearing a shirt that said Jesus saves. He was not preaching. He was not handing out tracts. He was not doing any of that stuff. He was just walking around wearing a shirt. They were the mall cops. There's videos of it. They were harassing him. They were saying, you either take off the shirt or get out and or change the shirt. Now, true, to be fair, on other days, he had been reprimanded for passing out literature, which is against policy. And I will tell you right now, I agree with them enforcing that. But this day, he was not. He wasn't talking. He wasn't trying to proselytize people. He wasn't doing that. He was just walking around. And evidently, there was a population there, which, if you know anything about Minnesota, you know about that large population that really doesn't like Christians a lot. And I think they might have had something in tattling on him. So let's go back to the beginning. Should you be ruled? Let's refocus, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are typing. Hopefully it's productive. Should you be ruled? Now, you might argue, Brad, well, of course we should have some rules. Obviously murder's bad. You know, you don't want people going around stealing. You definitely don't want people who are adults, sexually manipulating children in schools. That could never happen. We won't call that what the word, we just couldn't, right? There should be rules. There should be some rules. But what happens if the rule makers decide that those things are okay? And if you say it, you better shut up or take off the shirt or get out or go to jail. Now, are these people who are the masters of the universe, the 1% of the 1%, the Davoses, the Bond villain, that guy, Klaus Schwab? Yeah. Are they right? Are we really that bad where we cannot at least decide, you know what, I think I want to have an opinion about something? And you know what? My words are my words, and I can have them, and I can say them, and no, I shouldn't go to jail. Unless I'm not breaking the law, but then they change the law. So you got to understand something about their mentality is that they do look at you like chickens. And I'm borrowing that from Tim Pool. I saw that on one of his podcasts, video things. And he said he has chickens. Well, we have chickens, so it made sense to us. And his analogy was, you know, I like my chickens, love my chickens. I care for them. They give me eggs. Sometimes I let them out into, you know, free range, and they really like that. But sometimes I want to keep them locked up. They don't like it, but you know, it is what it is. I'm the farmer. They're the chickens. Sometimes I let the roosters in. Sometimes I don't. But when it's time to eat, I don't think twice about grabbing those eggs. When it's time for me to provide meat for my family, I don't think twice about culling the flock a little bit so that I can go ahead and feed my family. And guess what? The people that lead you, their thought process is very similar. You're the chickens and they're the farmer, and they don't ask your opinion about what they are going to do. It's like, you know, why does the lion care about the opinion of the prey? Why does the leadership care about the opinion of the chickens? Oh, they like you. They'll tolerate you. They'll do their stuff. But then when it's time to eat you or take from you or force you into a thing, they don't think twice about it. Because you're not them. You are a chicken. You're not them. Now, so we're at a weird technological place in history in that we have more communication ability than ever before, and they want to shut that up now. So here's the question. Should you be ruled? Comments down below. Have a blessed day, guys.